This is Showtime, a podcast about the people behind the curtain and the stories that shape them. I'm Andrew G, and each week I sit down with creatives, leaders and risk takers from the theatre world and beyond. We talk about what they do, why they do it, and what it really takes to keep showing up. Today I'm joined by Jackson Cross, a passionate, high-energy performer who's come full circle back to the very first role that launched his theatre journey, Emmett in Legally Blonde. Welcome to Showtime, Jackson Cross.
Thank you so much for having me. What a wonderful introduction.
The second, you won't see the first one, but errors popped up on the screen. Anyway, we're here now.
We made it.
Jackson, what sparked your love of storytelling and performing?
Yeah, I've always loved acting as a medium. When I was growing up, it was something that I was really, really passionate about. All my kind of idols and stuff were all in the acting world. And but I fell into music in bands and performing in that way. And I kind of just left performing theatre or acting kind of on the wayside. And then I had this teacher in year 12 who heard me singing at lunchtime one time when I was just jamming with my friends doing some rock stuff. And he asked if, and he was a new teacher at the school, and he asked if I took lessons, and I said no. And he said, I'd love to teach you. And I let him. And yeah, he was trying to sneak in all the MT stuff and all that. And I was like, no, I just want to do rock. I just want to rock out. And, but he snuck it in there and then ended up getting me doing Legally Blonde for the first time. And that really in year 11, is what sparked my want to do theatre. I was really that's all I needed. I got the bug. So when you were jamming at school, was that in a rehearsal room? Was that outside? It was to entertain other students? What was that all about? So I was in a band from in year 7 all the way till second year in uni. I was in the same band, so for about eight years, and they're still going and they're killing it in the Melbourne scene now. And this is because I grew up in Geelong. And yeah, we did some great gigs. We would do festivals. We would do I think we opened for Reese Maston, if you remember Reese Maston, when he came to Geelong one time when I was about 16, we did that. But yeah, we were doing really, really well in the indie rock scene in Geelong, and we were kind of going to move that shop to Melbourne. But I was in Ballarat for 3 years and it just became really difficult with arts uni. It's very demanding. But yeah, it was kind of just the one band. I'd have lots of muso friends. We'd all jam, and we had music rooms at the school we were at Geelong College. We were very lucky to have really lovely facilities for music, and we would just go there and mess around, really, sometimes for other students, but mostly for us. How do you think growing up in Geelong shaped your creativity? I think that Geelong actually has a very concentrated centre. It's the community is really tight and really welcoming. GPAC, which is now a GAC or Geelong Arts Centre is huge. Which is massive. And that's where I did Legally Blonde the first time. And I'd seen my sister do a bunch of ballet stuff there and all that. But that venue in itself really supports arts in a lot of different ways. And I think there's a lot of venues in Geelong that did that. And, I gigged in heaps of different venues with lots of different types of people. It was where I was introduced to the queer culture as well, which was very informative for me. And I don't think that I loved my school, but it was not pushing away any of those values, but it wasn't a community in which I was seeing a lot of that. So being in the arts community in Geelong was really colourful and beautiful and really informed who I am now. Do you remember the moment when you first fell in love with live theatre? Yes. I was lucky enough when I was 15 to go to the UK with my family, and we saw Wicked on the West End. And I think that I was sitting there pretending like I didn't like it for some reason, because I was 15 and whatever, closeted or whatever. and I just was sitting there blown away, obsessed with everything that was going on. It was so beautiful and so visceral and huge, especially I'd never been affected like that before. You watch movies and stuff and you relate, but when you're 15, until something's in your face happening and the best performers in the world performing one of the hardest shows in the world, and obviously it's doing well now, I think that's what really I was oh, this is real. this is a real thing.
What amazes me about that, Jackson, is that it feels like you are holding so much of yourself back as a kid. And of course, so many people do. But I wonder if you discovering live theatre when you did helped you with so much of your identity.
I think so. I think that it at least helped me realize that like this big personality, this person that like, you know, maybe I was told was too much or was whatever, like, you know, had all this energy that didn't have anywhere to go. And, you know, I have ADHD, and that was something like that, you know, teachers struggled with and all of that. But I was never like rude or mean. I was never a mean kid. I just like wanted to talk. I just wanted to like have fun. And I think that theatre, really opened me up and realized that I'm allowed to be that way. And I'm actually allowed, there's work environments in which allow for that as long as I'm respectful. And obviously I've grown up and realized when it's the right time to speak and all of that. But absolutely, I think like theatre and the theatre world has allowed me to realize that I'm allowed to be who I am.
Do you remember feeling like you might be too much as a kid?
100%. Unfortunately, when I started primary school, I had kind of like a string of 3 years where I had teachers that were very young and very new. And I think that they, especially, you know, 10, 12 years ago now, which it's not that long ago, but neurodiversity and all of that wasn't being taught to teachers and all that at the time, or at least not in the way that it was needed to. And they just didn't know how to handle me. So I would get, you know, reprimanded and punished for being distracted. And yes, it can be distracting for a classroom. Absolutely. But it was definitely pretty grueling and like very embarrassing and very being put down and telling like, rather than finding solutions. And luckily when I was in about grade 3 or 4, I had teachers that really understood me, and it changed everything. Like they just spent a little bit more time with me. And they were patient, and they were still saying, you know, you need to focus up. Like they were doing the right thing, but they actually did it in a way where they treated me as if I was being cared for rather than being pushed aside. I think I lost a lot of years because of it, because of the teachers. And as I said, they were very young, and I think they just wanted to teach their class.
And look, it's hard in a room full of people, and it's hard, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago when there was a lot less conversation about some of the stuff we're talking about now. But it seems like the music teacher who tricked you into auditioning for Legal. What's that teacher's name?
Dr. Bowen, Philip Bowen. He is just such a light. Like he came in when I was in year 11 as the new head of music, and we had the old head of music who retire after many, many years. And he was so unapologetically himself. He was so large, very, very tall man as well, very tall, loud, bassy voice, very, very eccentric. Like we'd never seen this person at the school before. And it was incredible. And I think a lot of people were very intimidated by it because, you know, someone being unapologetically themselves can be quite intimidating for people who are trying to be someone else, which a lot of people are doing in high school. And I think which led to a lot of people not connecting with him or not getting him or whatever. But I just like fell in love with him, like platonically, like I just completely like, I felt so cared for, so looked after, and he just wanted everyone to succeed and everyone to blossom. And it was so clear to me. He is the reason I'm here right now. Like absolutely 100%. He changed my life.
Do you think Philip knows that?
I hope so. I've reached out to him a few times, and I'm wanting to buy him a ticket for this show. And he's one of the reasons, like, of course, like I wanted to do the show, but was lucky enough to be offered the role. He's one of the first people I thought of. And I thought, even if he can't come, this is kind of this me doing this more than anything is a thank you to him, a thank you to my family who's been so supportive, and a thank you to myself as well for taking the leap and doing it. And it's like this beautiful full circle moment a couple of years after uni and having been lucky enough to be working so much, but just coming back to this role. And it is genuinely a real thank you to him.
It sounds like he's done a lot more for you than sparking a love of musical theatre.
I think so. I think he's another reason why I feel like I'm able to be who I am. Yeah, seeing a man who isn't afraid to be judged. And he was, because people are judgy in high school. As I said, they're pretending to be someone else. So they're projecting insecurity, and they were definitely judging, and he just didn't care. He did not care. And if he did, he didn't show it. He pushed through, and he was himself, and that was important. And he was a great dad too. Like his kids were at the school and they were so lovely, such great kids. And yeah, I learned a lot from it, and also learned how to sing because I wasn't singing. I was making noise, which is great. But like he taught me how to sing and sing safely. And he's the reason I went to Fed as well. He pushed me to go towards the uni that I went to, which was the best decision as well. And again, is why I'm here. So,
and you're doing all sorts of acting, and we'll talk about Legally Blonde in a sec, but you've done Shakespeare in the Park, which is obviously not a musical.
Yeah.
Obviously not a musical. Yeah. How is that for you to keep challenging yourself creatively as a performer?
I had halfway through my tenure at uni, halfway through my 3 years, I had this teacher, Julianne Everly, who was kind of the head of the year level and the voice teacher. And she was kind of like a mama bear, like harsh love person. She was, a lot of people found her very scary, but I was just so enticed by her and loved her so much. And she kind of gave me this great interview where we were just supposed to be talking about how to improve my like academic writing because I wasn't very good at it. And it ended up being a 2-hour chat about how I can improve as a performer. And most of it came down to her seeing this potential in me. But she just said, Jackson, you're not curious enough. You need to be curious. You need to want to discover, and you need to want to get better, and you need to wonder why this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And that chat about curiousness led me into why I'm so passionate and why I want to be better and try new things. Shakespeare is not necessarily a strength of mine, I don't think, but especially before I was doing it with Melbourne Shakespeare Company. Now I think it is. Like I feel really comfortable doing it along with other things. And I think that I love musicals and I love singing, but I'm definitely like an actor first. Like I know that I'm most comfortable when I'm doing this, like completely like naturalistic stuff. And I think that breaking out and doing Shakespeare really allowed me to get out of that shell and be able to be still believable and still natural while in this heightened world, which then informed my naturalistic stuff again and helped me with comedy and all of that. But I think it's just all about being curious, like, and I think that I've carried that into life too, which was really handy.
So what inspired you to audition for Legally Blonde again?
I was lucky enough to be reached out by Emma Waxman,
our casting director,
who was a lecturer at my university as well. As soon as I saw the email from her and it was Legally Blonde to audition for Emmett, it was kind of a no-brainer because all of it just come flooding back. I just had this kind of like fullness, it was just this really lovely feeling. I wasn't going to audition because I kind of promised myself I was going to have a little bit of an acting break because for about 3 years I've been a bit nonstop. But I knew it was going to be so fun. I knew that I really trust her. Like I trust her a lot. And I just knew that it was going to be what I needed for now. And like a break's one thing, but this is actually better than a break. This is like a closure and a full circle thing. And of course it's just a great show, and to get to do it with the knowledge and the skills that I have now, I was really curious to see what would happen and how different it would be as when I was doing it the first time. I was really just copying Christian Ball on the MTV thingo. So,
and you were quite young when you did it the first time, and you've travelled quite some distance in your personal journey since then.
Yeah.
So how are you approaching the role differently given all of that?
I think that I've been so lucky to be working with Amy Forrest, who loves the show, the director of the show, and loves the show so much, and she loves Emmett so much. Like she just loves that role, and I've been so lucky with that because she's opened me up to allow myself to actually be a person as Emmett, rather than a lot of the time be the person that takes on a lot of like stuff. I'm not sure if we're allowed to swear. Like takes on a lot of shit, and like people just like kind of like doormatting him, and him just being the nice guy who takes it. And what's been really lovely is that I'm actually allowed to be a person who's been through things, who has a life and has pushed through all of these things, not by being nice, but by like being strong. And now if someone's having a go at him, he's not, going to get all up in arms about it, but he's allowed to react like a human. And I think that has been really informative, and having these connections while in such a camp heightened show, still be a human being. Because that's where I live in acting as well. Like everything has to be rooted in reality, even if it's silly. And I'm like, I want to try everything and play, but everything has to be about listening. And I think that that's been the best thing that I've got to do in this show is just listen. And like working with Emily McDougall playing Elle, she's just like, she gives so much. I don't have to do anything more than listen and respond as long as I've done the work, because everyone's giving so much, makes it so easy.
What surprised you most about rediscovering the character of Emmett?
How difficult it is to sing. What the hell? I was like, because I think when I did it the first time, you just kind of, without like knowing about any technique or safety or anything, you just do it and you just like, and then you get to the end of the show and you're like, oh, well, we did a really good show and now I can't talk until we do the show or whatever. But you just get through it and you don't think about it. But now thinking about how to do it safely, where to place it and all that. And now also being proficient in reading sheet music and stuff. Sometimes you sing things and you're loving, you sing it for a while and then you see the sheet music and you see where that note is on the stave or above the stave. And then it's hard to sing because you're in your head about it. And I've kind of had that experience with this. It's been, and I've had a bit of sickness and stuff with my voice, which hasn't been hurting or anything, but it's just been like another little challenge to navigate this. And it's been really, really like awesomely difficult, like in such a really good way. I didn't think that was going to be the part that was going to challenge me because I've done it before, and it is. And I've been really excited by that. So that, I think the singing, yeah, it's hard.
Emmett as a character in Legally Blonde is someone whose confidence and self-worth grows over the story. How do you relate to that?
I think that I have been lucky enough to have the family that I have. I'm so, so lucky, and we're very, very open just in general. And I think that I've always felt like I was being who I was at the time that I was being it, but I was discovering more about myself as life went on. And I think that Emmett's very similar. I think he truly believes that who he is at the start of the show is who he is. Like, I think that he believes that, and I don't think that he realizes that there's more. And he's lucky that Elle comes in and actually opens that for him and realizes that there is more, and he's in a space where he's able to find that and have someone guide him along that journey. And I think that I've been really similar. I think that to do with like my queer journey, for example, I have a partner now that I've been with for 3 years, and they are a very queer person, and I've always been attracted to queer people, not just in a sexual or relationship sense, but just in general. Like, it's always been just like this magnetic thing, and I had this thing through uni where I just like I never felt queer enough, coming from high school and going to uni, where everyone is a lot more sure of where they're at in terms of their journey. They may have been through things and I just hadn't, and I'd had girlfriends and all that. And I just like felt that was very safe. Being in this relationship with my partner has allowed me to realize that I don't have to be any type of level to be worthy of queerness and who I am, because that's just what it is. It's just like who I am. And I think that my journey with my partner in that regard has been similar with Emmett, with Elle, in the way of having someone guide you through finding more about yourself. Even though you're happy with where you are, you're also happy to find out more.
And it seems to me that Emmett, through Legally Blonde, sees something special in Elle before Elle realises that Elle's special. That sounds a lot like the journey that you've been describing.
Yeah. I think that what's, and I hope I believe this, and I hope that my partner would see it a similar way. But yeah, I think that Emmett and Elle are actually, they kind of have the same story going both ways for each other. And I think that that's what's so beautiful and that's what makes a great relationship, whether it's a friendship or whatever it may be, or family or anything, is that you have to make each other better. Like, that's the point. And that's why you're together. And on a basic level, if that's, you make each other happy and you're friends and you lift each other in that way, then that's great. And if it's discovering more about yourself, or if it's becoming a better this, a better that, if you've got a teacher, they're helping you become better at what you're doing, but you're also helping them become a better teacher. So it's like, I think that that's what's so important about relationships. And I totally agree. I think that's what Emmett and Noel are doing.
And Legally Blonde challenges people's expectations based on appearance and assumptions. Have you been underestimated based on your appearance, your assumptions, how you present in the world?
I think so, because I have quite a strength with acting in doing really serious stuff and actually playing quite like gross or like, I suppose, like manipulative or bad people. I can do that quite well and like quite confidently. And I think that it's a funny thing going into auditions because I love auditioning. It's something I loved, which I know I'm lucky that I love doing it because it's just so fun for me. But I think that it's funny sometimes when I walk into a room with my like energy like this and then really like lock in and that, but I love that. I think aside from that, not really. I think that what you see is what you get in terms of who I am. But in terms of my capabilities, I suppose, yeah, the only thing is like my personality versus my ethic and my work and how much I'm able to shift. But I think that I've been lucky that being a straight passing white like man hasn't really put many roadblocks in that regard. I think that's been the only thing really.
There are a lot of performers that watch and listen to this podcast. What the hell do you mean you love auditions?
Okay, so I think that like you see all these, if you're an actor or you're a performer, you see all of these like clips on your feed about like all these famous actors talking about different things that they say about auditions and all of that. And I think that they all make sense. Like I think like Michael Keaton said something like, you know, I've got an audition, I'm going to work. Like I've got work today. And I think that's so true. But then at the same time, I think that doing an audition, I think that I just get excited in high pressure environments when I'm doing my work. Like I'm not sure what it is, but it kind of feels like it's opening night. And that lovely, exciting feeling. I'm not someone that gets really nervous and it brings me down because I know that I've done the work and I'm ready to go. If I haven't done the work, I'm not excited for the audition and I might not go because I'm not. I'll say, look, this one's if I haven't done the work, there must be a reason, and it might just not be the project for me. But if I'm excited about a project, I've done the work. I'm excited to show them. This is what I do. This is like I'm getting to share with them what I love to do and what makes me happy. And I think that the reason that I don't get that nervous thing about like, what if they don't like me or what if I don't get it is because I go in there and I show them what I love. I connect with them. I am respectful and hopefully make new connections. But at the end of the day, once I've left the room, it's none of my business anymore. I've had enough auditions to know that when you don't get it, the person that does, when you see it, they're right. Maybe I would have done it differently and blah, 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 but it's like, it's just none of your business. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just love it. It's like, it's really exciting and it's always different than you think it's going to be. And that's what's amazing is because you really have to listen. And then you get to be yourself. And I think that's really, it's great. It's exciting.
Legally Blonde talks a lot about ambition and success. What do you think the show says about who success is really for?
I think that it says that success is for the people that want it and go get it. And you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourself. And I think that unless, the other people are grouped in with yourself and your values, I think you have to do it for you. And I think that that's what this show shows. However, to do it for you, that doesn't mean that you have to do it by yourself. And I think that that's what's so good about the show is the community. And Els, she's all about community and having other people lift her up, but she lifts so many other people up, Emmett, Paulette, all these people in different ways. And then she's, getting rid of these things that are pulling her down, like Warner, who she thinks she wants this thing, because she's probably been told that that's what is right throughout her whole life. He's very attractive. He's got money. He's smart. He's going to be successful. That is the right thing. And then she realizes that the right thing is the people that lift you up and your community and the people that make you feel better about yourself and strengthen you. But yeah, she has to get all of that help, but then do it herself. And she does. And I think that is the thing. You have to do it for you. And you have to learn that you're not doing it for the old mate, Warner. As soon as that's gone, her progression spikes as soon as she starts doing it for herself and not someone else. It's
been over 20 years since we first met Elle Woods and all of the characters. No, it's been over 20 years since we met.
Yes, yeah.
It has been over 20 years since the movie came out. And of course the musical followed not long after. This Melbourne revival that opens next month, why do you think people still love this story so much?
I just think that I think it's timeless. I think that like the world of the show lives in a very specific period. I think it's a difficult show to move in terms of time period for the show. However, the message, I think it's more important now than ever with the political climate at the moment, acceptance, being yourself, being unapologetically yourself, holding on to that community, like all of these values and like friendship and what's important and who's important, those values and those lessons are never going away, ever. And I think that, now more than ever, we need to go to the theatre and have a laugh and have fun and not at expense, like have fun and then also learn a lesson. And, I always remind myself, because I forget this because I'm young, that there's people that are younger than me that haven't learnt these lessons yet. Because sometimes I'm like, adults coming to theatre to see theatre and, maybe they haven't, blah, blah, blah. There's, it's a big theatre. There's going to be lots of kids who haven't seen the show, maybe haven't seen a musical, and haven't seen this kind of story. And I think that it's so important for them to, because it's really informative.
I'm with Jackson Cross, who's playing Emmett in Legally Blonde, which opens at the National Theatre on the 12th of July for a limited season, only until the 27th of July. For info and tickets, go to booktickets.com.au. Jackson, thank you so much for coming into the studio. And obviously all the very best wishes for Legally Blonde.
Thank you very much. Very excited.